All right, today for lesson 8.1, we're going to do multiples of unit fractions. So if you remember from our review of our vocabulary, unit fractions have a numerator of 1. Okay, so we're going to be doing some multiples of that. Let's read the first problem here. At a pizza party, each pizza was cut into 6 equal slices. At the end of the party, there was 5/6 of a pizza left. Roberta put each of the leftover slices in its own freezer bag. How many bags did she use? What part of the pizza did she put in each bag? How many questions do we have here? Two. So the first one is how many bags did she use? And the second one is what part of the pizza did she put in each bag? So what are some things we need to know from the problem? Cheyenne? So 6 equal slices. And 5/6 of the pizza left. So hopefully with what we just did over there, we can quickly answer these questions to the right. How many slices of pizza were eaten? Think about what's over here. You got a whole pizza. 5/6 was left. How many pieces were eaten, Damaris? Just 1. We don't need the fraction. We just says how many slices. So we just want to say 1 slice. So we can just put a 1 in there. Now it says what fraction of the pizza is the 1 slice. And what'd you tell me, Damaris? 1/6. So be careful about what it's asking. If it just says how many slices, you don't need the fraction. You just need the regular. If it asks you what fraction, then you need it. Take a look at the example. They have a picture drawn for you. Write 5/6 is the product of a whole number and a unit fraction. So our picture shows 5/6, or how many 6-size parts? It's showing 5 6-size parts. Each one of those 6-size parts of the pizza can be shown by the unit fraction 1/6. So take a look at what they're doing with it here, because this is what you're going to be doing on your own. We are going to use unit fractions to show 5/6 in 2 different ways. So here's the first way, and as you know, we've done this already before adding unit fractions, right? So how many times am I going to write 1/6? 5 times. So we're going to put it in there. We've already done this way. Okay? The other way is to take how many slices times your 1/6. So how many were there? 5. So this is how it would look. This is what you're used to right here, right? This is what you're going to now start to see. Instead of doing 1/6 plus 1/6 plus 1/6 plus 1/6 plus 1/6, you're going to say 5 times 1/6. Everybody see that? Yes? Okay. So if you look over here in this little remember section, it says you can use multiplication to show the repeated addition. So instead of having to do it over and over and over again, instead of writing 4 plus 4 plus 4, you can write 3 times 4 because it's written how many times? 3, and you're doing it with 4. Same thing with this. 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 is 4 times 2. So over here we had 1/6 plus 1/6 plus 1/6 plus 1/6 plus 1/6. How many times did we do that? 5. So we're taking 5 times the 1/6. So you can do it with regular whole numbers, or you can also do it with fractions. Everybody good with that? Yes? The number of add-ins, or the multiplier, represents the number of bags that were used. The unit fractions represent the part of the pizza that's in each bag. Okay? So how many bags did she use then? 5. And she put how much of a pizza in each one? 1/6. All right, now we have to explain how we can write 3/2 as the product of a whole number and a unit fraction. Well, look at this. What am I in? I'm in halves, so I can write it as what? So how do I know how many I'm doing? Where do I look? At the numerator. So we're going to do 3/2 is equal to 1/2 plus 1/2 plus 1/2 Or, what's the other way I is equal to 3 times 1/2. So here's the first way that we've been doing, and here's the second way. So the first way is the sum of unit fractions. The second one is a product of a whole number and a unit fraction. Does everybody understand how we got that? We took the numerator of 3 times the 1/2 because we're in halves. Okay? So you have to look at what we are in. What is our denominator? What am I looking at? How many parts do I have? Go ahead and flip the page. Here's where your multiples comes in. Product of a number. An accounting number is a multiple of the number. You have learned about multiples of whole numbers. So if we're doing multiples of 3, we know is 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, as long as I can count, right? Products, 1 times 4, 2 times 4, 3 times 4, and so on, are all multiples of 4, because you're multiplying by what? 4. The numbers 4, 8, 12, and so on are your multiples of 4. So when you did 1 times 4, you got 4. When you did 2 times 4, you got 8. And 3 times 4 is 12. Those are all multiples of 4. We can also find multiples of unit fractions. Okay, take a look. 1 times 1/4 is 1/4. Because we're only doing it how many times? Once. So it says to use models to write the next 4 multiples of a 4. And complete the last mile. So take a look at the model that they have here. Yes? They didn't do the model for 1/4. They're going to do the next ones. So you can see they have a model here of 1/4 and 1/4. So take a look at what they wrote. How many times are they doing it? 2 times the 1/4 gives you a total of 2/4. Everybody good with that? Okay, let's move over here then. This time I have what? 3 times, still the 1/4, and that's going to give me a total of 3/4. Okay, what do they have here? 4 times 1/4. Still doing fourths, right? Everything so far in this model is going to be fourths. So what do I get now? 4/4, and if I put that all together, I would have what? 1 whole. Okay, so instead of dividing it up into these different ones, they could have put it all together, right? Okay, let's go over here. They don't have anything on this one. Well, what do we think we're going to shade?
1/4 of each.
Okay, so how many is that going to be?
5.
Okay, so we're going to have 1 of each just like they've been doing. So you're going to quickly shade here. And how many times did you shade?
5.
So there's 5. And are we still doing fourths?
Yes.
So times the 1/4. Now what does that give us?
5/4.
5/4. Now we're not going to turn that into a mixed number now because we're doing things with a model just like they've been doing. So now we're going to list the multiples of 1/4. So 1/4 followed by and now does this make sense with what we've been doing with fractions? Yeah, these are all multiples. Did you realize they were multiples when you were doing it? No, probably not, because you're used to doing multiples with whole numbers. So 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, 4/4, and 5/4 are all multiples. Okay? Now we're going to show how to use a number line to write those multiples. This time it's going to be 1/5. We're not going to use a fourth, we're going to use 1/5. So take a look at the number line. They drew 0 and 1 and 2. Here they have 1/5, 2/5, 3/5. Yes? So what's going to come next? So we're going to make this line here, and this is going to be 4/5. And then we're going to make another line, and it's going to become 5/5. So as you can see, it took you 5 times to get to 1 or 5/5. So what are my multiples of 1/5? 1/5, 2/5, 3/5, 4/5, and 5/5. That one stopped at 1. Notice this one went past. So do your multiples have to stop at 1? no, they can keep going. We could do 6/5 and 7/5 and 8/5 also. Questions about anything we've done with unit fractions? I want you to look at what's going on here because this is important to you as well as knowing how to write it in unit fractions, which we've already done. All right, let's try some.